look where we are. Right here is where this epistle is being written. Right here is where the gospel is written. See, this is AD 90. This is where Revelation is being written. All of the gospels are finished and spread widely by the time of Revelation. And so we're looking at this time between all the apostles going off the scene and only John is left. But what's the message of God for every believer? 1 John is how to live for God in an ever-darkening world. And that's what we live in today. Now remember, the context is right here. We're in Asia Minor. Now come over here to my map and I'll show you. This is the Roman province of Asia. And you can see it right here. This is the time periods down here in this map. And I love this map. And this is the map that I've used both for our study tour through the Gospels, which is the video study tour. And coming up soon, it's going to be the map that we use for our Life and Letters of Paul. But right here is the area that these letters were written by Jesus through John and Revelation. This is where 1 John was written, 2 John, 3 John, and the Gospel by John, right here in the Roman province of Asia. And you can see it again on the slide right there. And Patmos is right off the coast of Asia Minor. This, again, is Patmos right there. Do you see it? And right here, this star is Ephesus. So right here is where John in Roman Asia pastored the church in Ephesus. And he wrote the gospel, and then he wrote the epistles, and then he's captured by Domitian and put out here, and he writes the book of the Revelation. And then church history tells us he came back to Ephesus and the Lord called him home. The dark days of deception are coming, and as the end of the world approaches, so does earth's darkest hour. Revelation tells us hell will open and the pit will vomit out its demon hordes. And in next week, we're going to start Revelation, so make sure you stick with us to the end. But other beasts from the abyss will wreak death and destruction globally, and we spend 3 weeks on that book. But look at this. Satan himself invades the earth and conquers it at last. At the helm, the visible leader of the world, and this is Revelation 13, will be the long-promised man of sin, the lawless one, the beast, the coming world leader, commonly known as the Antichrist. Now, look up for a second, get your Bible, and I want you to see how important it is to tie together this epistle with the next 3 weeks in Revelation. Look at 1 John 2:18. It says, little children, it is the last hour, and as you have heard, that the Antichrist is coming. Notice, the, and a capital A. That's a person, okay? So a person who wants to take Christ's place. He is an anti. That means in place of Christ. He is one that says, I'm the Christ you should be following. I'm the one that you've always waited for. Now keep reading. There's a second kind of Antichrist. Look at verse 18. Even now, many Antichrists. Now look at this. Antichrists and the Antichrist. There are two different groups talked about here. Look here with me at 1 John 2:18. And this differentiates between these two. It says, little children, it is the last hour. The Apostle John believed he was in the last hour. That's the strength of the early church. That's what's so important, that we live every day like it could be the day that Christ returns. But listen what he says. And you have heard that the Antichrist is coming. Isn't that interesting? That was the first lesson. Eschatology was the first lesson that Paul taught new believers. He taught them, this world is not your home. We're looking forward to the place prepared for us in heaven. We're just passing through. We're supposed to live every day expecting Christ is going to interrupt the day. Boy, has that fallen on hard times. You don't hear that taught in churches anymore. In fact, half of all the churches in America don't think that should be taught. And yet, he said, it's the last hour, verse 18. The Antichrist is coming, and many Antichrists are here already, and that's how we know it's the last hour. What are those many Antichrists? Well, remember, those are oppositions to the gospel and to Christ. It's all of those who don't believe in the deity of Christ, they don't believe in his virgin birth, they don't believe in the substitutionary atonement of Christ, they don't believe that he is the creator, and they don't believe in creation. All of those are antichrist. All of those are opposing the gospel. Do you remember? And by the way, the next 3 weeks we're studying Revelation. By the time we get to the third of those 3 weeks, the last week, we're going to be in chapter 14 of Revelation. And when God gets to preach the gospel through the voice of an angel flying around the world at the crescendo of the tribulation, do you remember what he says? I'll let you know what is coming, okay? Look at chapter 14 in your Bible. Now, we're not in Revelation, but I'm so excited to show this to you. 14:6, kind of like John 14:6, this is Revelation 14:6. I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach. This is very important. To those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. What is the everlasting gospel? This is straight from God, sent through an angel, with no human, error possible. Look at this. Saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. Worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea, and the springs of water. When God preaches the gospel with a global message to everybody, the last hope they have for salvation is to worship the Creator. Beware of those Antichrist who oppose the true gospel, the everlasting gospel of the Creator, of the Redeemer, of the substitute, of the divine, 100% human, 100% God, Jesus Christ, who is the way, the truth, and the life.